Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 484 for Wednesday, February 1st. It's the day before Groundhog Day, which doesn't keep repeating itself. So there you go. There's that. My name is Russell Frost. I am the host. I'm down a wing. So if things are even clunkier than their clunky norm, it's my fault. Let me just own that right at the beginning. But we have a ton of news to get through. So let me introduce this panel and we will get this show on the road. My friend in Northern California, who has both working wings, Georgia McKenzie.
I was just testing, just in case. You never know. Once over 25, literally, you have no idea what could break at any moment. On your
Slept wrong. You looked to the left too fast.
You slept on something wrong.
You looked at a piece of chicken.
Oh shit! That explains a lot of this. Actually,
now you got the gouts.
Yeah. Man. Well, thank you, Georgia. And next to her, on my screen at least, bathed in sexy blue, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. And I bet you did not know that everyone was going to have to do the chicken dance today for some reason. So,
is there actually a chicken dance?
I think
Yeah.
there is.
There is.
I can't even imagine why. But I'm sure my friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Supercharger, Kacey Green, knows why there's a chicken dance.
For weddings, obviously. I too am down a wing because my dominant hand is holding a human from falling to injury.
It's full of baby.
Speaking of superchargers, on the Tesla Life, I just managed to look at my stats, and I've burned 20 plus megawatt hours of supercharger miles.
So what you're saying is you're an electron waster.
I wouldn't say wasted. I mean, I did go places, and I almost got my $3,000 worth. Right now they're running a special for the bigger cars that they'll give you supercharger miles or a discount, and I've almost got my discounts worth.
Oh, right on. Right on. Well, that's excellent. And finally, last and not least, he is the founder and owner of Boulder Hybrids. He is the man you want to see if you're an electric car or a hybrid on the front range, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be back, and let's get the show on the road.
There we go. I love that enthusiasm, Paul. Well, and speaking of Paul's enthusiasm, Paul's going to intro our first story tonight. Paul, what the hell's going on in Japan?
So, Akira Toyoda, who is the CEO of Toyota, who is the grandson of the guy who founded the company, is stepping down as CEO, effective April 1st. And since they announced it in January, it's probably not an April Fool's joke. But
real quick, what's up with the Japanese announcing stuff for April 1st? Is it the quarter, or do they not realize that's a big joke day around here?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they should have said April 2nd, right?
Right.
Look, in America, every day is Big Joke Day. Have you seen what we're up to?
But what's interesting to me, does this mean the new CEO is going to be more pro-EV than this guy has been? Because
that's what they said in their statement, but he also has nothing to do with EVs in his past. So it's like...
Yeah. So could be good news. I guess it can't be worse news than what Toyota is doing in the EV arena. So...
But Mr. Toyota is stepping down up to the chairman position, which is a more prestigious, more powerful position. So unless he guarantees to keep his mitts off of it, could it actually be worse?
Well, the chairman doesn't do day-to-day stuff, right? They kind of run the board and try and corral the board members. So we'll see. I guess a year from now, let's see if there's any changes being done at Toyota.
Isn't it bad that we have to treat Toyota like these fly-by-night startups, like wherever all the cars are registered as motorcycles? No slight to any of the ones that have done it, but so far, when they say something, we're like, we'll see if they make it to market.
Yeah.
And Toyota says something. We'll see if they actually do what they say.
Well, and of course, we don't know what happened behind closed doors. Did the board kick him out?
They could have ousted him.
Yeah. Just because he's the grandson of the founder. Doesn't mean he can call all the shots.
We'll give you this big chair if you shut up about gas.
Yeah. Or we'll let you go play in the Formula One pit crew.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, Toyota's done such a back and forth thing for the past couple of years on EVs I don't think anyone on this panel is going to take them at face value until it actually happens.
Until you see cars in the showroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't make up lame excuses like the lug nuts fell
I was
off.
about to say, yeah, they make it to the showroom and they like stay in people's driveway for more than a month.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if Koji Sato brings some. I mean, is there a reason for this? Is this a reaction saying, okay, thank you, Toyota-san, you've done your family's company well, but now it's time. You know, I mean, was there pressure to do this? Is this something that Akio wanted to do?
The new guy is 10 years younger, right?
Yes, at least.
Or maybe the board said, hey, look at Tesla stock, acceleration compared to ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
An excellent question, and all excellent questions, all of which will never be answered.
Right.
Toyota's famously closed
will be
mouth.
answered in a year.
Well, yeah, we'll be able to see, but even then, yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, what is sad is in the hybrid space, they're still killing it. I mean, they've got 11 hybrid vehicles. They're all excellent vehicles. Put that effort into EVs, guys. Keep telling
But that's the
Very
thing.
least put
I think the
frickin'
thing.
plug
I
on
think
it.
the reason why he's getting kicked out is because, yeah, we're crushing it in hybrids, but the market is moving to EVs, and you are constantly crapping on it.
Right.
Right. At the launch of our newest EV. There was a quote in an article I saw this weekend about this that said they make the best Walkman CD player in a world moving to MP3 players or streaming even.
Yeah. And it's a problem. You can't. Why would I trust a product from somebody whose visible face doesn't even like the product?
Right. Or maybe they're getting rid of him because he came up with that stupid name, the BZ4X.
Right. But Georgia brings up a great point right there. That was why I never was interested in a Nissan hybrid, because Carlos Ghosn was always crapping on hybrids. I'm like, well, why would I buy a Nissan hybrid if he thinks it's a bad idea? But when the Leaf came out, I'm like, all right, he's always been saying electric is good. I can look at the Leaf now. Thankfully, the one I was looking at buying, I didn't buy because of the Lizard battery didn't exist yet. But at least I knew that the company was behind it.
Yeah. And the thing is that you're not going to have the focus to make a successful product stay on the market. You cannot promote and push something that you don't have faith in, at least in public. He's out there as a chairperson giving these interviews and doing these talks because he's representing the company, correct?
Right.
Does he sound like somebody with faith in the product? No.
Not if the same afternoon the new thing comes out, he says these new things are stupid.
Yeah. No.
Not even the next week. Within hours.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully he enjoys his new position and he, it's what he wants to do.
Right.
Time will tell, as we like to say on this show. Let's go to our next story. Good news for EV owners. And oddly enough, it comes from the person who lives in the cold place. Mark?
Hell? Oh.
Yes, the Arctic of Southern Ontario. This is a interesting story come up at this particular time that we're experiencing a cold snap here in Ontario. Right now it's minus 20 with the wind chill Celsius.
Oh.
So it's pretty cold. It's going to be cold, even colder tomorrow. So, but this story that I pulled from Yahoo, which I typically don't use, but Yahoo had a favorable EV story, so I thought I would report on it. Is that
Mark? Who's Yahoo?
That Joker down at the corner. Just
they make the best CD players in the world of search engines.
And this article was about Norway, another even colder place than Canada, where they never see the sun. Apparently, Norway's a cold country because they're further up north than even Canada. In some cases, a number of their cities are.
That's just
because Canadians tend to hug the U.S. border. We want all the warmth that we can get, so we stay as low as we can in our country. But
water politics.
The Norwegians, of course, have had a cold weather climate forever. And what they have discovered is that EVs work extremely well in the Nordic cold. They have the ability to operate efficiently and cheaper than any ICE vehicle, even in the worst conditions. We all know that batteries, their chemical composition, they do have issues when it gets extremely cold. In an EV, in a typical winter scenario in Norway, you're definitely going to lose about a third of your energy in a extremely cold, non-preconditioned battery pack. So when you come out in the morning, if the car's been outside and not plugged in, that battery pack is going to have to warm up, and it's going to be less efficient. Therefore, you're going to get a little bit less mileage. But the bonus of EVs, of course, is that they're highly efficient when they're being used compared to an ICE vehicle. An ICE vehicle has about 70% of its energy generates waste heat, and only 30% of that energy goes to drive the vehicle. So you're losing a lot of efficiency in an ICE vehicle in the winter as well. And that's where the EV shines, is that even though you're losing a third when it comes to mileage in the cold climate, you're still above what an ICE vehicle loses because of its waste heat typically. And Norway, we just lost Paul. Oh, he's back. So Norway will also, is of interest, is that last year, get this, they were selling every 4 out of 5 vehicles has switched to EV in Norway in 2022. That's an 80% margin. That's unbelievable. They have moved completely away from ICE vehicles. And in fact, the incentives that they had in place to sell EVs, they would have tax breaks for people that bought an EV over an ICE vehicle. They're going to start phasing them out because that has now been so successful that people have changed in mindset that they're not even looking at gas vehicles anymore. So many of the people in that country have bought these EVs that it's just spreading through word of mouth now. There's not as much need to have a big tax break as there was in the past to get people interested in an EV. So much of the population has one now that they can see that people will be just switching over naturally. So what a great system that they have there. They've used actually gas and oil money from their reserves that they sell to fund the EV revolution. So it's been a huge success in Norway. They're about 10 years ahead of what the European Union want people to be switching over to EVs. They're a decade ahead of the game. So they're going to be the first nation that will be switching over to all EVs, no ICE sales in the future. It's all something that's starting to come together now. And now that we're entering 2023, we can just see how successful they have been in the past, I guess, about 8 years. This project has been. So what a tremendous success it's been, and my hat's off to Norway with this successful transition that has outsped anything that the EU wanted in place.
Imagine what you could do with a 10-year head start.
Yeah, it's remarkable. It really is. It's you probably couldn't write the story a decade ago that a country like Norway would lead the EU in EV adoption, because so many people just did not understand how that could actually happen. Norway definitely showed us the way as to how it can happen. And that certainly helps people here in North America, Canadians and Americans. There is no real excuse. Even though EVs can suffer some losses in the winter, if Norway can do it, North America can easily do it. There's no issue in this in that light, and Norway's shown us the way. So congratulations, Norway, and I hope we as North Americans can follow your lead.
I mean, it's just if you compare it like with heat pumps, for instance, if you run your heat pump off of a natural gas power plant, it is more efficient than burning the natural gas directly in the home at the endpoint at heating the home.
Yep.
Well, and the other thing you can do with a Tesla in the winter is, even if it's in your garage that's unheated, you can program it to come on an hour before you leave to warm up the cabin all nice and toasty, and there's no emissions in your garage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So try that in your
There you
ice
go.
car.
Do not try
No,
that.
don't try that in your gas
Do
car.
not
Do not.
try that in your ice car. Sorry. Do not. Paul was
Yes.
just having a little fun there. He didn't mean that. And speaking of fun, let's go for our next story to Kacey Green, who has a whole bunch of little toys that I really want. Except, Kacey, with absolutely no slur to you, my friend, is that the worst Photoshop picture ever in the history of news stories?
I was going to share it without the Photoshop, but yeah,
You got to
let's share
show
the Photoshop
everybody
instead.
now.
I mean, and they
Terrible.
had to put their own damn logo on the digger. Like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So Electric, as part of their weird Alibaba pick of the week, decided to actually do something useful this time instead of something that was just kind of fun and like what we had the kitty cat and the whale EV.
Hey, those are useful.
The houseboat / bicycle / you know those sorts of things. But this one is a little mini construction rig, like a little bobcat. But as Russell pointed out, they got their logo on the digger, and it was a bad Photoshop job. And what's really cool about this one is if you order a whole container of them, you get a discount. They're not that bad overall.
That, yeah.
Right, and they are powered by lead, not lithium. So I would think that probably on the first battery change, I would switch them up to drop-in lithiums myself. But let's see, it weighs 20 pounds, and the two drive motors are 3.5 kilowatts, and the hydraulic motor is 5 kilowatts with a PTO, power takeoff, power other stuff around your garden. And if you only get one, it's $4,900, and if you get a whole container, it's $4,500.
You do not need
Wow.
10 of these unless you're
I know.
unless
If
you're
you're
giving
running like a small
everyone the
construction
gift,
company or rental
the
Well,
gift of a
yeah.
loader for
You
Christmas.
might need the other 9 for spare parts to fix the first,
or that.
I
because
would figure you
kind
would
of
them to
equipment like
Baba.
that's $5,000 is probably not going to last that long.
Yeah.
Says the well-informed technician who has to fix these things.
Right.
I'm just
Sometimes you get what you pay for.
Right.
I just no. No.
Hopefully part of the savings is the lead battery.
Yeah,
I just can't
it's
see
so
this
weird.
as an important.
It is from China, so I mean,
No.
trying to hit that price point. It looks like they were trying to get you at 5,000 or less, and they did it.
I mean, what? I shouldn't even bother to ask because somebody with 2 acres is going to buy this.
Just thinking,
they're just
somebody
gonna
with like maybe 40 acres.
Just have a blast running around with a front loader, and they're gonna lift a little dirt, move it from the left to the right, and their wife is gonna be really annoyed at them, unless the wife is really into it too, and then everybody's gonna play on the loader. I myself have taken a lovely ride on a backhoe in a quarter of an acre vineyard that a friend had up. So I have seen these kinds of things, but I'm still just going. The kitty car was a lot more
love
useful.
this instead of the gas version come off the back of the local lawn trailer while I'm trying to work, and they're sitting there revving their leaf blowers up and down.
June C in chat says, "Plow my driveway," and that's right. The name again is Mr. Plow, Mrs. Plow. Sorry, I could do that.
Well, from electric mini loaders to electric James Bond villain super yachts, Georgia.
What? Well,
What the hell?
Look, this came about because somebody was showing pictures of an absolutely obnoxious yacht design. It looked like a very large orange object, shall we say. that I shan't allude to anymore of what it actually looked like.
Oh
And I
wow.
thought to myself, is there a way that can't we just have a freaking sustainable yacht? Somebody's had to have done something at this point for people who want to pretend to care. And look, there is. This is the well, I don't know. This is just a terrible name. The eVTOL. This is an electric yacht. And not only is it an electric yacht, yes, it's got an eVTOL boat. It's got a submarine as well.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. This is a
How
36.75
how else will you
meter.
attach nuclear bombs to Russian submarines?
All I know is if you hear ding 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 ding, just get on one of the boats and get away from whatever this is. Just get away from the site. It's going to blow up because that's what happens to supervillain yachts in James Bond movies.
Yeah.
And you don't want to wait and see if you're in a James Bond movie or if you're in a Rian Johnson movie where a supervillain doesn't necessarily blow up in his boat, but still you don't want to be around that.
May I point out the tiny oxygen tank?
Yeah. It's the emergency ascent tube.
It's like
Yes.
a 32-ounce tank.
I'm far more interested in the submarine on it. Now, the thought running through my head is, are there sustainable billionaires? And then I thought to myself,
It's got
once
a
I
little
read
gripper
that,
too.
that is a complete oxymoron. You are not sustainable if you are a billionaire. You know what the problem is with being a billionaire? It's just like hoarding cats and everything else. If you're hoarding money, nobody actually takes you to therapy that you really need. They think it's okay. You're not sustainable as a billionaire. Even the best ones are taken from something that they should probably not be taken from to have the billionaire. Do they have billionaire toys like this? I mean, you have to admit, this is brilliant engineering. 40 kilowatt peak solar panels, capable of producing enough energy to cover the yacht's hotel loads, and it can do significant fossil-free cruising of 6-8 knots. I have no idea what that means. Full power, it can travel up to 16 knots. In other words, it's fast. It's got the catamaran style, which is pretty cute. Can't deny, catamarans are awesome. And it's got the X-Craft XP4, which is that one of Elon Musk's children with Grimes? Or is it an actual vehicle? They say it's a vehicle, but it looks rendered. It's probably one of Elon Musk's children. But there it is anyway. It's an aircraft. It's got 4 whirring motors. It's got a landing. My God, this is right there for me with when you have a solar-powered Humvee. Yeah, we can do it. Yes, it's better than, one powered by gas or coal. Should we?
Not really.
If
I
we
was about to ask if it
must.
had a gas engine like the silent yachts do. Diesel, rather. And it is a silent yachts. They've partnered with these folks.
It is a silent yacht. I mean,
the brand, not the that it is.
yes, but
Yeah.
it is a silent. It's a silent 120, and this is one of those cases of where I am both rewarded for my curiosity, where I'm sitting there reading articles and thinking to myself, now, can we? And then I'm feeling punished for my curiosity because now the answer is, should we? Really, should we? Georgia, did you really want to know about, again, yes, this is a Bond villain thing, but it is possible. And if you happen to be a very rich person watching this show or listening to this podcast, and you were thinking to yourself, I really want a yacht with a submarine and an Elon Musk baby aircraft, but I don't know if I can make it sustainable. We got you covered, fam. And pay us a
point out
finder's
that if
fee,
you
by
are
the
looking
way.
into it,
Donate to the show a 1% finder's fee for
Right.
finding this obnoxious craft for you and resolving your ethical billionaire problems, but not resolving it to the point where you go, you have more than enough money. Stop being a billionaire. Just kind of return it back into society in various ways. Pay your workers and cover their healthcare in full. Don't have them chip in. Just pay all of it. Oh, wait, that's too much resolving every billionaire problems. We'll return you back to the yacht. So there you go, folks. If you want to,
this is the Silent 120. When I looked into their Silent 40 base model used to see if it might be, see if it might be possible just to use that as a house instead. It goes into the Tres Camas category for the used one. So remember that boats, just like cars and RVs, are depreciating assets. So
I've always appreciated the viewpoint. I forgot what his name was, Dave Barry. That basically you buy the boat, and the minute you put it on the water, it starts to rust and loses value. And he thought that they were going to one day hit the point where they make a boat that resolves every boat enthusiast's need, where they basically buy it, just throw it in the water as a rust heap and let it sink. And I'm kind of agreeing for once on that one.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was thinking, hey, it's been out for a couple of years now. Like, they've been parading this thing around. How much does the used one could possibly be? And I was like, oh, not anytime soon.
Well, there's always larceny.
No,
which is a tradition.
Powerball.
That's right up there with Paul's suggestion of how to warm up your gas car.
I was just like, oh my gosh, really? But yeah, you too can be a sustainable billionaire, my friends.
That's it.
And once again, finder's fee. If you do buy this, remember us, your friends at What Drives Us.
We'll put it to good use. We'll make society better.
Send Georgia a decent commission check, for God's sakes, please.
Hey, this is for the show.
You can't name it the Disco Volante, okay? Just don't.
What's a Disco Volante?
I'm looking at this thing, and they have to render with the drone on the top. Where do the panels close up when the drone is on board? Does it dip down into like your kitchen, and now you have no kitchen because there's a drone in the middle?
Yeah, it drops down into the cruise missile hangar deck, and then the solar panels cover.
So when the
that.
drone's on deck, you can't close the solar panels.
Yeah.
I really feel you're not taking this yacht seriously.
Me?
So then you can't get through any narrow passages because you've got your solar wings are like trying to knock themselves off on the bridge.
Wait, Bruce in the chat says that when you work for the companies that make these kinds of vehicles, you get to play with them too. So we need to posit to Bruce. Was this at least fun?
Right, that part. Well, I mean, they could use my skill set over there.
But this is all Photoshop. This thing doesn't exist, right? So
no, this is going to be releasing in 2024. But there are versions of it. This is just their new, latest, greatest, biggest.
Yeah, the 120. I looked at a used 40, and that was had the solar panels and the deployable bridge deck and all that. It was really cool. And then I saw the price, and I was like, oh, I closed the browser.
Does it run on lead acid batteries or?
No, that one uses lithiums, like they were 2012 Tesla style, and it had a diesel generator as a backup, but it actually could cruise. Assuming you didn't go at full speed, it could cruise without burning any diesel other than the maintenance cycles, like an old Volt.
Well, for those of us who want to save a little money, the Nemo mini sub there that we were mocking, that's only $479,000, and frankly, I think we can all chip in and buy one.
Well, we all need one, that's for sure.
Is any of that something people would need?
and
is there a deal if we buy a whole container like the front end loader?
Yeah.
I have no use for a front loader, although now that I have a house, it is funny the things you think. I could get one of those now.
Yeah, I could use that.
Yeah, I could use that.
Oh yeah,
get one for the community.
Well,
speaking of that old pickup truck.
Speaking of sustainable solutions for, we're not going to say Bond supervillains. How about sustainable solutions for wealthy ski enthusiasts? Kacey has a story about Salt Lake City doing something really cool.
Yeah.
You could call this James Bondish too.
Yeah, very.
So the Utah Department of Transportation has decided that they did a study on what they wanted to do about there's a road that connects Salt Lake City with 4 major ski resorts.
Yeah.
And it's called Route 10, 210, sorry. And the problem is that in inclement weather, it has issues with avalanches, and on non-inclement weather days, it gets crowded with too much traffic. They looked at what if we get some electric buses or regular buses, and they determined that those would still be susceptible to avalanches and traffic. Plus, then you'd have to buy a bunch of buses and charging stations. So they decided, what if we make a 30-minute gondola ride? It still uses cars, but these cars don't use up any space on the road. And they're not susceptible to the avalanches, and they don't add any more traffic. And now you don't have to maintain the road at all. So they've got public transportation. A new car arrives every 2 minutes or so, and it'll hold about 10 people each. And it's electric, so you can power with solar panels or renewable energy.
You know who hates this idea?
Who?
Fossil people?
All of the
All the rich
luxury
people?
condo
Yeah.
and hotel owners near Snowbird and Alta and Park City.
But here's the
and Deer
thing, though.
Valley and all that.
It's very much like the Muskie tunnels. They do drop off at the resorts, at the hotels.
Yeah.
So I just make it so they don't want to take the ride back down the mountain and say, hey, stay here for the night and ski again in the morning.
There's that too.
Yeah.
I do have a question on, is the gondola really avalanche proof? I'm just saying.
I mean, not 100%, but way more than the street. Because
Yeah.
the street,
That is-
if they
that
get
is
any
true.
snow on it, you're screwed. The
is
gondola,
true.
you have to take out the towers. Here is the avalanche risk area right here in beautiful multicolors.
And
And
there's a
here's-
nice photo of the 210.
Oh, yeah. This is what it looks like normally. So they're saying even without the other stuff it gets you, just to get out of this traffic would be worth it. And then the lack of emissions. This is their render of what it will look like. Yeah, so it's 30 minutes from the base to the first resort, and then to the other 2 resorts is like another 10-minute trip.
And
And they say they can do it for less than $4 billion. And all the people who live there say, yeah, right. It's going to be more.
well, I'm sure there's lots of people who hate this for a number of their own reasons. I guess the only question I would have is if I was going to spend $4 billion in Salt Lake City to help transportation, is this the best use of it? And maybe it is, I don't know. It's certainly a problem, at least in the winter. And it would certainly help shift some hotel money and some restaurant money to Salt Lake City. It would bring in probably a whole bunch of, dare I suggest, lower income people. Because they could afford to stay there and go ski for the day, just riding the gondola up. I only say that because I recently was costing out a Park City vacation, and it's hella expensive up there. Eating, staying, the whole 9 yards. It's a wonderful area to visit and ski in, but the last thing you want to do is let a whole bunch of people like me up there.
See, then you get more tax base if they do let more people like you up there. And somebody suggested that while they wait for this thing to get built, still get some of the electric buses, run them up and down the traffic jam, and then I suggested further that once the gondola is done, you can move those electric buses to the top of the mountain, and then, like Russell said, when the skiing season is out, you can run those same electric buses elsewhere in Utah until you need them to cater to the rich folks again.
It's a really interesting idea. That's all I got. I'm sorry. Georgia, were you going to go somewhere?
Yeah, well, I actually had your thought. Russell, you're smoking.
Yeah,
it's incense. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Just making sure you're not on fire, which
Incense.
sometimes happens.
made the computer run too hard.
It is. No, you know what? I'll tell the embarrassing story. My dog pooped in my office earlier because she's got an upset stomach, and it was kind of smelly. So,
One of them good luck weeks for you.
thank you. Yeah, it's my favorite
Maybe the
white
maybe
peach
fairy.
imported from Japan incense. Makes me very happy. And anyway, okay.
But, I had the same question you did about availability, and here's why: because it's not okay. More transportation will allow the poors to reach us. Often, the hidden subtext in many of the opposition to public
That's
transportation.
why
plans.
Atlanta has a crappy MTA system.
But I do also question the gondola as an effective way to move a large amount of people to have that big an effect, because I didn't
It will
really
move.
see like the expected amount of users.
Yeah, it'll move slightly
Also-
less people than the Musk tunnels do in the middle of peak CES season.
Yeah, and to me, I feel that this feels like the sustainable yacht. This is something that people will say, but look, what did a friend of mine say? We are trying to help the poor. Look, we let a dollar store be built here. And that's not quite it. That's I
mean,
especially the cost they're talking about.
Yeah, if they can figure out how to do it cost effective. I mean, gondolas do work in certain scenarios. Anybody's been to Telluride here in Colorado, there's a town over the mountain called Mountain Village, and they have a free gondola that runs, in the summer past midnight, I think. And if you go into town, have dinner and drinks, you just hop on the gondola to get back to your neighborhood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, there's a gondola in Portland, Oregon, I believe, that connects a couple of neighborhoods. So it can be done. Whether or not it's just for skiers, is that good use of money?
That part, yeah.
Russell, like maybe take other neighborhoods in Salt Lake City that have no transit and get them transit.
Yeah.
That you
'Cause-
brought up a good point, though. This one will run later, so the folks who work there catering to the rich folks will be able to use it as well.
To get home.
And at 10 seats, each one pulls 2 cars off the road. So every 2 minutes, that's two less cars off the road. But as you all are saying, for that price, is it the best?
Yeah, and the Escalade driving ski family is probably not going to want to get in a gondola with other people.
But if
Ooh,
if they could do a 30-minute ride instead of a 4-hour stuck in traffic,
Yes, if the traffic is that bad.
yeah, but then how are
It
they
is
going to get
that
to the
bad.
restaurant after a hard day of skiing?
Uber or that electric bus I suggested.
No, that's so lower class, Casey. Come on.
Uber Premium.
You jump. Okay, thank you. There you go.
Uber helicopter.
Uber vertical takeoff and landing. No, we've already been there. Well, you know what?
Tunnels.
It's a good idea.
Tunnels.
And you know what? I appreciate the conversation that something like this brings up, because it's not just about widening the damn highway. It's let's look at other ways to move people around. And that is a big step in the right direction. Normally, it's just about how do we widen this highway? And we know how that ends every time it happens. Speaking of Kacey, speaking of boats, I don't know that this is a Bond villain boat, but Kacey has an update on something he'd previously reported. Kacey Green.
Yeah. So a while ago, we showed you the Candela C-8. So not the C-8 like the Corvette that was supposed to be an electric and it's called frickin' electric, but it's really just a dumb old hybrid. No, this is an electric boat that has the airfoil and it can hydrofoil, sorry, and it can lift up out of the water, and it has like no wake and uses very little electricity and can do like 100 miles on very few kilowatt hours of electricity. They ran into a little bit of a problem getting the motors and batteries they needed because of the pandemic supply crunch. Well, Geely's Volvo's Polestar stepped up and provided these folks with a motor and battery and marine rated them. So they're not necessarily waterproof, but they're rated to run on the water, and they're ready to run at the constant output that these people will run boats at. And so it's a good news that if we're looking at one of these, or if you know people who could use one, that now they're back onto the sustainable side instead of gas vehicles. And it helps Polestar out because now they can group buy. So they get more batteries and more motors or components to make said.
So the fins come out of the car in the bottom and it goes in the
No, it's just, they just took the battery and one of the motors. They took the lower spec motor and the
James Bond here and get the car to turn into the boat.
That would be cool, but they took the mid-range battery and the low, not low, but the entry level model rear drive motor, and the marine rated them and put them in Candela.
Okay, Kacey, how much is a new boat?
I don't remember. The price didn't. They didn't say the price went up from what we talked about. So whatever we said back then.
Okay.
I'm looking for a price.
They won't say the price.
30 cajillion
$1
million pesos.
Jillian me.
Way less than the
doesn't say.
120. I'm thinking. Last one we
Yeah.
looked, it was probably like 200,000-300,000.
This is a much smaller boat, too.
It's
Yeah.
way smaller. It's like a speedboat.
And there's no submarine option.
No submarine.
No helicopter option. No.
Oh, well.
You might get a hydrofoil surfboard as a tender.
Yeah.
The electric one.
I think I'm definitely a raft kind of person.
So 69 kilowatt hour battery. So it's the
Just
Polestar
a
2
raft.
standard range single motor, and top speed of 35 miles an hour. But don't forget you're flying above the water, so you don't have that constant just like noise from a gas or diesel engine just wailing away. And on top of that, you've now lifted like 3 feet out of the water. The computer is keeping you balanced. So with less wake and less water noise, you can actually just have a regular conversation like we're doing here.
Okay.
Well,
So I would probably go with the not the one that you buy, but I'd go with the one that you charter. So rent it for a day, or rent a ride out and a ride back in it, depending on what we're talking about here.
I'm holding out for a land speeder.
Oh, and they had the ferry model of this thing too. It was bigger, but it was a regular old ferry. But I don't imagine that the Polestar and the little motor power in a ferry. So maybe Polestar will give them quad motors and the bigger pack for that.
there we go. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, thank you, Kacey, for the update. I appreciate when any of us take the time to follow up on stories and
Absolutely.
update them. That's
There's not enough of that in out there today. Not just in our area. It's more common in our area, but definitely not in the regular news. They rarely do it. So it's always good to be able to bring that out to the people who may have seen the original reporting.
absolutely. Well, since we've spent this episode talking about electric gondolas, electric vertical takeoff and landing helicopter, isn't just helicopter easier to say than
Well,
EV?
quadcopter.
Yeah, whatever. It's quad. Yeah, it's a really big drone.
Yeah, it's a really big drum.
We've talked about electric boats of several kinds, electric submarines. Let's talk about actually the most numerous electric vehicle right now. Georgia has an update on one of the most popular made. Georgia, what's going on with Rad Power?
All right. For those of you who maybe got some disappointing news, November 2022, that was when the Rad Wagon 4 electric cargo bike, can't talk, was recalled. It affected nearly 30,000 Rad Wagon 4 electric bicycles. Now, these are the bicycles that are basically cargo e-bikes. But there was a tire issue.
Because it's different than the other cargo bikes we've been talking about the last month.
Yeah. Got
Still a
picture.
cargo bike. Continue. I'm sorry.
It
Thank you,
still is
Kacey.
cargo bike.
This is 2 wheels. You got racks. And
2 wheels and a
that's
big
it.
long tail that you can put humans on, as I see every day, humans stacked on the back there like cordwood, or stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully stuff. So
Hopefully.
there was 2 issues that were affecting the e-bike's wheels. There was a misaligned rim strip that could lead to an inner tube puncture. And then the ribbed sidewall of the tire was sometimes able to lead to an inner tube puncture. That would mean a loss of control. And if you're going high speed, you do not want to lose control.
Especially with cargo in front of and behind you. Oof.
Yes. Now, they sent out replacement part kits. And now, great news, everyone. You're able to order it again. Not the replacement kits, the bicycles. So we've got the new Rad Wagon 4 cargo electric bike. They're available to buy, and you can strap whatever the heck you want to now back on your bicycle, your e-bike, and ride around town without having to haul out the car, even the EV.
There you go. I like a good recall story. Like when the company steps up, does the right thing, and then hopefully doesn't go out of business. Versus the ones that like to the ones that like to, kind of delay and calculate how much each life is worth and all that crap. Come on now. Oh, that was the repair kit Russell just scrolled past there.
Yeah.
That was this is the recall kit that was sent out to the people that to repair the tires. I mean, super good of them to do it. Certainly not like the frames are cracking in half and killing people.
Right.
Yeah, it was really just a tire issue, and with a starting price point of $2,000, way more affordable. Although not as cute and round as the little Nemo submarine there for the yacht.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get a lot of hot chicks on the back of the Radwagon cargo
Speak for
bike.
yourself. That's what tranquilizers are for.
Maybe you'll get hot chicks. I won't. How's that? I'll give you that one. No,
I will buy me some. I've been thinking about getting some chickens. So yes, there are going to be some hot chicks.
Yeah, there are.
Little tiny little beep, 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 beep.
Can't wait to see those. Rad's done a lot of yeoman's work selling a shitload of electric bikes, and they are everywhere out here. I don't know if you've seen them where you live, but they're super useful. And these cargo bikes where you can carry people, you can carry stuff. It's electric assist, so you're not like, oh god, I'm going to die getting stuff home. It's a really cool bit of transportation tech, and it's $2,000. It's expensive, but it's way cheaper than a car, and it doesn't cost anything to insure, and it costs very little to operate. So it's a really good solution for a lot of people. Sadly, it's mostly a toy for the wealthy here.
Well, because poor people rarely have $2,000 to spend on a bicycle. That's just the frank truth. If they can find an old bike that's, may need some frame straightening, and they can pull together the tubes from their local community bike centers. And I mean, okay, maybe only Davis has that, but any bicycling collective or anything else, they can pretty much cobble together what they need if they really need transportation, and they can ride a bike, but they just can't afford it. It would be great if we had programs. I don't know. There's grants for EVs. It would be awesome if we could just get a grant for bikes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not? But socialism.
It's this would help a lot of people get to work, get to the grocery store, do a lot of things that they do in either a crappy old car that pollutes and isn't safe, or maybe they have bus service where they live. Who knows? But anyway, it's nice to see Rad step up and fix this.
It's also easier to retrofit cities for bikes than it is to try and make them walkable the way that we built them here in North America. Yes.
Especially when we have cities, I don't know, like Walnut Creek, where you have whole places where you got no sidewalks. We can't walk.
Nobody wants to walk in Walnut Creek.
Well, they're walking away.
To walk out of my house, you've got the neighborhood, which is fine. It's actually got sidewalks. As soon as you hit the main drag, it's 50 miles an hour, no sidewalks.
Sidewalks.
2-lane road.
Well, all they want is clean pedestrian kills. No, they don't want that 25-mile-an-hour drag you for a little bit. Maybe you're injured, maybe you survive. They just want boom and done. It's over. It's really a mercy thing, and that really hurt just now. Son of a bitch.
That is the karmic cost for your joke.
I wasn't hoping people would die. I was just making a bad joke. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We all pay.
I do that about 70 times a day. Okay, on that note, let's do some shout-outs and go home, because we've worked a hard almost hour. Let's call it a night. I'm going to start with... I need like a randomizer,
Right? Spin a wheel.
Spin a wheel. Mark Coughlin. I
wanted to ask the people that are still watching this show to give us a thumbs up if they haven't already. Press that subscribe button. And of course, if you want to find out what's going on throughout the week, you can follow What Drives Us on all the socials. Just search what drives us. It's that easy. No surprises. Just search what drives us. We'll come up, subscribe, and you can find out what's going on between shows. Thanks, everyone. Back to you, Russell.
Thank you, Mark. And do be sure to subscribe and listen to or watch The Tesla Life, hosted by Mark Coughlin and featuring Kacey Green. But we get the baby. Does the baby get on The Tesla Life?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, come on. I thought we had a baby exclusive agreement. You rat bastard. You sold me out. Well, I know Paul won't sell me out because he kept me from making a very expensive van mistake, which I actually wasn't going to make. But nonetheless, I go to my man Paul for this kind of advice. Paul, what's up with you?
Same deal. We're in Boulder, Colorado, fixing hybrids and EVs and selling hybrids and EVs. And market's getting a little bit better if you're looking for a used car, new car. But interest rates are up, so may not be the best time to buy. Tax credits are up in the air, so if you're buying a new car, wait till that gets sorted out. But anybody in Colorado, come check us out at boulderhc.com.
Will your establishment qualify for the used EV credit whenever they nail that thing down?
Yes, and I believe Colorado is trying to do a used credit as well.
Oh,
so
nice.
So that could be great if we can get inventory to sell.
That part.
We have a question in the chat. How much to fix the AC in a 2001 Prius? And I'm going to guess it depends on what's wrong with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say the 2001 Prius is a traditional belt-driven compressor, so anybody who can fix a Corolla from that era can fix the Prius AC. It's not electric like the newer Priuses. So
I remember that. Yeah.
could be a compressor issue, could be a condenser, could be just low on refrigerant. So unfortunately, it could cost as little as $150 and as much as $2,000 to fix. So need to diagnose it first. But you don't need to go to a hybrid specialist.
Yeah, I was going to say, Paul, thank you for incredible insight that none of us, I don't think anybody else would know that. So
Yeah. But I can say that if you don't have $2,000, it's called the glorious fresh air that blows in as you drive. That's right. Natural AC.
Or AC.
he says the compressor is dead.
Oh,
That's expensive.
You could get a used one.
Yeah. That's true.
You can email us through the website, Boulder 8C. We probably have one in the back.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, Paul, listen, if nothing else, Paul is reliable. Unlike most of the sellers of used things online.
Well, we could ship the part, and he could have his local mechanic install it again. You don't need any special equipment for the Gen 1 Prius. Gen 2 is a little different. That's an electric system.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Paul. Kacey Green, tell me give me a baby update and a Kacey update.
You just crawled out and crawled back in. That was pretty cool. And you can catch us on youtube.com at Kacey Green, KaceyGreen on Sundays. The first story, unless something major changes this week, is going to be about a certain automaker leading from behind. But it's not really about them. It's comparing them against the actual topic of my story.
I thought I was waving. I was just
waving at the baby.
Waving it just happened.
Yeah. Oh, she's clapping. Okay, well, let's all clap. Well, last and certainly not least, Georgia McKenzie, bring us home.
Hey, everybody. You've hung out with us for a glorious 54 minutes.
Man.
Thank you, guys. If you've already hit subscribe, hey, don't forget to hit that like, because that like button tells YouTube's algorithm this is pretty good content, and maybe I should share it with people who are interested in sustainability, EVs, cars, or just good chatter. And when you do that, you help out the show without having to spend a dime. Don't forget to let other people know that we exist, because your word of mouth helps us. Your ratings help us on podcast programs. So if you are listening to us, hey, leave a good 5-star review. 5-star reviews help us out. Let us know. Let us know what we're doing right. Because Lord knows, people who complain let us know stuff all the time. People who like us, Why are you so quiet? Go on ahead and do that. And join us next week for who knows what the heck else we're going to find to talk about, but it's always going to be something interesting. If you are in Texas, or if you're in Ontario, Canada, like another friend of mine is, minus 40 degrees Celsius. What the hell? I do believe that is from Jupiter. What kind of temperature is that? Stay warm, stay safe, wrap up, check in on each other, and charge your phones and everything else. And make sure you save up your potable water, those of you, especially in Texas, that are not prepared for this kind of weather. We hope you stay safe and sound, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Georgia. I want to thank Michael Manring for his theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy a song or two, please. As Georgia mentioned, you can support the show best by doing something for absolutely free, just subscribing, and maybe even share the link to one of the shows with some of your friends on your social media pages. I want to thank Paul Guzik, Kacey Green, Mark Coughlin, and Georgia McKenzie for another exciting hour in their life they will never get back, but nonetheless, we're willing to share it with me and all of you. So thank you, panel. And of course, thanks to everybody in the chat room. Names, people I don't even know. Yay. Right on. And Paul diagnosed one problem just like that. Maybe we should just have like a live call-in show. Paul fixes your car. No, that's already been done, hasn't it? Yeah, a couple times. So thanks to all of you. You are the reason we do this show, whether you're listening or watching. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. Thank you, Kacey Green, and thanks all of you.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week.